George Russell takes the lead of the Sakhir Grand Prix.
I mean, we should have won that race. This is our first win together.
Yeah.
It's still one of my best laps in qualifying.
Yeah, it's such a brilliant drive.
So, 150 Grand Prix.
Crazy.
I still think of you as a young driver.
Yeah.
Where has that time gone?
Unbelievable, eh?
Yeah.
Australia 2019. I mean, I still remember that because I was there with all my family, and it was like a dream coming true to get to F1. But it was also a bit of a strange feeling because with us at Williams at the time, we were going through, the team was on the verge of bankruptcy. The car didn't get delivered and testing on time, and we were about 1 second slower than the next slowest car. And I remember getting lapped like 3 times or 2 times by Lewis and Valtteri. But still, it was like
living the dream.
Living the dream.
Welcome to Formula
One.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah. But it was like, this is like the start, and it still just felt so surreal being there, really. Also, Australia, the first race is a cool one, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. Love it as a first race. It's great.
Ooh. Oh.
Imola 2020.
Yeah, not my finest moment. I learned never to upshift on a bump with cold tyres from that moment. But I think for me, it was like, it taught you that F1, the cars are such beasts, they can catch you out like nothing.
Boom, like that.
And I don't think people really appreciate, like, the cars are not designed to go slow.
No.
It's like the same way as driving like your road car flat out on the road. It's not designed to do that. An F1 car isn't designed to go slow behind a safety car.
Yeah, when you're flat out, everything's in the window, it's all biting, it's all like monotonous and just keeps on going and biting, and you get behind the safety car, and that's why everyone's complaining constantly.
Yeah.
God, why is this thing going so slow?
Yeah.
Because it's fast, but it's just not fast enough to keep the thing on the road so easily.
I felt like such an idiot. Felt like such an idiot there. But it was more a test of my mental strength of like, how do I come back from a moment like that where I felt it was so embarrassing, and you feel the whole world is watching, but I laugh at it now.
Sergio Perez is trying to challenge as George Russell goes into the first turn, and George Russell takes the lead of the Sakhir Grand Prix.
This was my first time working with you.
Yeah, I remember.
Properly. I was performance engineer.
Yeah, performance engineer, Bono race engineer. Yeah, that car was a beast. It was just it was so easy to drive that car. It was just like, it did everything you wanted. It was so intuitive. Turn in, the thing would just bite, and the tyres were good, and it almost kind of felt like driving a PlayStation. It was really, I mean, we should have won that race. I mean, we led
twice.
Yeah, led the whole race. Safety car, wrong tyres.
Looks like a rear left puncture.
That's George Russell's chance of a podium absolutely gone now.
We've been denied a thrilling last few laps as well.
Came back, went down to P6, I think. Came back to P2, was chasing Checo for the win.
Yeah.
And then the puncher. I mean, that is just, somebody didn't want me to win that day.
That was a killer.
But it was, again, like, obviously, that was so painful for me. But my life is no different today. Had we won that race or not, you know, I would have loved to have won that race and another one on the tally, but
I think the way that the race went, though, is sort of what really opened people's eyes to, okay, this kid's got real talent, and he's a real racer. We just need to get him in the car now and keep building. Yeah, it was just amazing, just the way I think, when did we get the call? Wednesday night, was it?
Yeah, late Wednesday night.
Yeah, late Wednesday night, and we had so much stuff to go through with you, having never driven the car before. But you just took it all on board, and it's like, right, you just tell me what to do, and I'll go and do it. And we just kept chipping away through the weekend, and then in the race, just kept fighting back, and just the spirit you showed in that race as well.
I appreciate that.
Another painful one, but
I think
a good memory though.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me as well, it was you always believe in yourself as a driver, but you
Yes.
just never know until you get the chance. Like,
Yeah.
you know, can I win a race? Can I fight for a championship? And I think for me, that was like, you know I can do this now, and given the equipment, I know I would take my chances. And you know, we're kind of in a similar boat today. You know, we're fighting, we're winning races, we're always there or thereabouts, but you know, we want to fight for a championship now, and I know that you know we can achieve it when the time comes. Well, first time we met each other would have been way before I came to Baku
GP2?
2017. That probably was the first time that we
Probably, yeah.
met each other, and then I guess I was like the annoying kid as the reserve driver around the office, getting in people's way and whatnot. But yeah,
GP2, you were around a lot then
yeah.
as well in the office.
No, but I think it was. I remember in Baku, it was my first race with you guys in 2017. Evan, one of our engineers, had printed off a photo of Lewis and I from when I was like 10 years old, and he placed it around the whole office. He printed off like 30 pieces of this. And I think Lewis was more annoyed with it than I was. I thought it was great. And this was pre-Lewis's fashion sense, and yeah, I don't think he appreciated it too much. All right, first points.
Hungry 21.
Yeah, that was a crazy race, obviously. Every driver and team messed up this race by not getting the right tyres on the grid to start with. It was one of those where you're in Hungary, it was pouring down with rain, there was a red flag, and it was so wet before, nobody believed it could have dried up, and we did the formation lap.
Yep.
And everyone's like, what on earth, the track's dry. And obviously Lewis started on the inters
By himself.
by himself. And
Track.
no, but for me, I think just because of what we'd been through at Williams with the team and their finances, like, you know, I was still a young kid, but seeing like people's jobs on the line, a result like this propelled us from P10 to P8, I think, in the championship, which is massive for the money. That was basically survival or no survival.
The team.
So that felt more than what the result was. I mean, it was a qualifying race, wasn't it?
Yes. It was qualifying, and then it was standing around drinking lots of tea
Yeah.
in a very wet pit lane.
No.
Funny one, that.
Yeah, it was. But I still remember the qualifying was, like, for us, every time we got to a Q2, that was almost like a result.
Yes.
And then we got to Q3, and that was like man, we're in Q3 here, this is awesome. And then I remember it was pouring down, and Lando was very quick this weekend, and he crashed in a Rouge, and it was red flagged for, I think, about 35, 40 minutes. And we were all stuck in the garage, and there was only enough time. There was enough time to do 2 laps or 1 lap, and we went for 1 lap. Everyone else went for 2 laps and crossed the line. There was.
You have a big wing on there as well.
No, we had a skinny wing.
Is that the skinny one?
Yeah, it's crazy how much it's changed.
I was gonna say it looks bigger.
Yeah, it's crazy how much it's changed. So that then, I remember we used to call it the R25. We had 2 rear wings, an R40 and an R25.
The big one or the little one.
So we had a big wing or a small wing, because I was purple sector 1, and I think purple sector 3 on that lap in quali. I don't know, sector 2 I definitely wasn't. It would have been Max. But I just remember nailing turn 1 in quali, nailing a Rouge. Like in the wet, a Rouge is a proper corner. You go through and the car sort of slides, and I just knew when I got through those couple of corners,
Right, yeah, this is going to be good.
I was like, yeah, this is going to be a good lap, and it was just all really hooked up. Bearing in mind, we're a team that had been last in constructors for over 3 years. To then be on the front row was like, what
Yes.
what is happening here? And then obviously very fortunate.
And in his first season for Mercedes, George Russell, after winning the sprint yesterday, wins the São Paulo Grand Prix on a Sunday.
George Russell, you are a Formula One race winner. Come on, team! And it's come on!
Brazil,
22.
yeah, first win. That was,
Sprint race as well.
yeah, sprint race, qualified third. It was a crazy qualifying. Magnussen was on pole. Max was second because we fought in the sprint race. But we were just flying this weekend, and that was again like our first opportunity of a win that season. You know, it was a year when Verstappen and Red Bull were super quick and Perez was quick. Ferraris were leading the championship for quite a bit, weren't they? And this was our first opportunity.
Yep.
And I mean, you were obviously still with Lewis.
I'm still with Lewis at
You're
this
still
stage,
at that
so,
point. Yeah, so, but yeah, an emotional day.
there we go.
This is our first
Our
win
first
together.
win together, yeah.
That's some good champagne spraying there.
skills. I got a hug from Hans Zimmer on the podium as well.
Yeah, that was what you were most pleased about that day. I remember.
Yes, this was the crash up ahead, and everyone got a bit excited, and Toto shouted at you on the intercom,
Yeah.
braking for the corner.
Yeah, you can win this, George. I was like, yeah, I know. I've seen them crash, and now I've almost crashed, but
Yeah,
thanks.
not my first race.
No, but it was, I guess it was being there just to take advantage from the situation, and yeah, it was nice to get the win.
Like with the Brazil one, you have to be there to, when the opportunity presents itself,
Yeah.
you need to be there to pick it up, and you are always putting yourself in that position, so very good. Belgium 24,
Yeah.
mixed emotions.
I
It
still
was a
put
great
this.
race.
I still put this down as one of like my best races ever.
Yes.
I think we had really good comms at race, like between the two of us, and we basically made that decision
Yeah.
between us to go onto the one stop when everybody
Yeah.
went to the two stop,
Converted
and
to the two.
again put us in that position to win.
Just sort of kept eking out the lap times that we
Yeah.
needed and doing the job that we needed.
Again, like I'm obviously at the time I was so sad to get that win taken away, but now it's it's history, and you're always looking forward, and these moments, I'm still incredibly proud of how that race panned out, and in my mind is even more like I will remember this race even more because of what happened thereafter. So
Yeah.
Vegas.
Vegas.
Oh,
Vegas 24.
yeah.
It must have been cold.
Yeah. Yeah, I was shivering after the race, like covered in champagne. It was so cold that weekend, but that was such a dominant weekend,
I was
wasn't
going
it?
to say that was pretty much every lap of the race that
Yeah.
you led at that one. Just all weekend, just from lap one, even in practice.
Yeah.
Just boom, P1.
Yeah. Yeah, every lap of practice. I
Kept
think.
making changes to the car, but it sort of just the lap times just kept coming and coming.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, and Vegas is always tricky because it's a street track. No one else drives on the track that race weekend, so it's always dirty. The car's sliding around, and from practice to qualifying to the race, the track evolved so much. But it was just a flawless weekend, and the car was just in that perfect window.
Across the line we go. George Russell wins the Canadian Grand Prix, and he converts pole position to win the Canadian Grand Prix for the first time in his career. His first win of the season, Mercedes' first win of the season.
Brilliant drive all
Brilliant.
weekend. Nice.
Well done, Tim. I made up for last year. Well done,
Yeah.
Tim. Well done. Congrats, Kimmy. Congrats.
George, well done. 1 and 3. Good day, a good day.
Good day, sir.
Yeah, it's such a brilliant drive.
Canada 25. I don't remember how dominant this weekend was or not. I remember, again, it came down to that lap in quali. I remember it's still one of my best laps in qualifying, and I just remember watching my delta gaining a tenth like every
Yes.
every section of corners.
And I waited for ages to say anything because you were finding so much per corner.
Yeah.
I thought, well, there must be someone else who's also doing the same. I'm trying to look through everyone else, and I think Lewis was the last person on a lap.
Yeah.
And you can see he was down, down, down.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the last 2 corners he's going to find something.
Yeah.
And Toto just came on the intercom to. He was like, "Got pole."
Yeah. Yeah.
This was making up for last year as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like this was the race I really wanted to win because I felt in 24 we had a very quick car in Canada, and I drove a bad race in 24, and I really wanted to make amends, and I felt so happy after Saturday. But I also knew it didn't really mean a lot because we were on pole in 24 as well, and this was our chance to put it right. And that was just a cool, calm, collected race, and I was happy to get the first win of the year. Singapore. I felt this weekend it kind of came from nowhere. Like,
Interesting.
the car felt good in practice, but I never felt that quick.
Okay.
And I don't know, like Kimi was having a strong practice session. I was pretty impressed, like he had never been there before, and he was a bit ahead of me on Friday. We then had the crash, or, I shunted it on FP2, so it's like you're on the back foot. And I was taking it a bit easier in FP3, and then I think it was come Q2, I just sort of got in this window, and then the 2 laps we just smashed it in Q3. And the start of that stint, I remember when lining up on the grid, Verstappen on the soft, and I was a bit tense because I thought, he's got the softest tyres here. He may get the jump, but we nailed the start. And I remember
Big split pole to non-pole there as
exactly.
well. So.
And I just remember we were pulling like half a second of that, weren't we? Every lap for those.
And I thought we were going to be under pressure immediately from the start, but once you started pulling those gaps, you think, okay, this is going quite well, and we just need to control it and not do anything silly.
No, for sure. And it obviously rained about an hour before the race, so it was wet on the laps to grid. And obviously, when you're a driver and you're on pole, you're a bit frustrated when it's like, it's rained and it's going to be a bit of a variable race, but I felt confident and I didn't mind too much, and I was ready to do the business. But the car was in a great place that weekend, and I think we got the setup spot on.
Stuff.
Flown by.
Yes.
You still haven't told me what race number you're on. What do you reckon? So what was the first one? 14? 15?
No. So I started 2000.
Oh no, that was Mercedes, wasn't it? So you would have been Manor.
I was with Manor in 13, 14, 12 and 13.
So
Manor.
what do you reckon?
Oh,
You'll be closing off. You must be over 300.
Probably, yes.
Carl, you know it.
No.
You know it. You just want to say it.
I don't want to know it.
No.
It's too big a number.
But you've done basically every race for the past 7 years now.
Well, more than that. I've been 10 years with this team, every race. I've been here since 2014.
But you haven't missed a race in 10 years?
No.
Not bad, eh?
No.
Still going strong. I wonder when that last race would have been. So that would have been, you've done every race since you've been with the team. Wow. Impressive.
Yeah.
Keep on counting them on. All right, nice
Ticking
one.
them off. I've got like a little calendar at home.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm trying to catch you up to the next 150.
Good luck.